2025. This is the meeting of the Mayor and Council of Princeton, New Jersey. And our technology is now working. Terrific. Perfect timing. Okay, could we start with the meeting statement, please?
Sure. Adequate notice of this meeting was provided in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act, including the time, date, and location of the meeting. In addition, the agenda and all related materials were posted electronically and made available to the public on Princeton's meeting portal in advance of the meeting.
Thank you. Michelle's going to do the land acknowledgement for us tonight.
Thank you. We gather today on the land of the Lenape. As members of the Princeton community, we aspire to show appreciation, respect, and concern for all peoples and our environment. We honor the Lenape and other indigenous caretakers of these lands and waters, the elders who lived here before, the indigenous today, and the generations to come.
Thank you. Could we have roll call, please?
Mr. McDonald?
Here.
Ms. Perron-Lambros?
Here.
Mr. Cohen?
Here.
Ms. Sachs?
Here.
Ms. Braga is going to be attending via Zoom. Mr. Newland?
Here.
Mayor Frida?
Here. Okay, if you're able and like to stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Announcements and reports. Council members with Michelle.
Yeah, a couple of quick announcements. Just one second. So in the Recreation Department, the early bird discounts are available. I love this time of year when I can say this, for the pool memberships and day camp registration through to the end of this month, April 30th. And we've got a lot of our summer hires already taken care of. So it's just right around the corner, which is really exciting. And then in terms of an event coming up, I'm very happy to report that the Sustainable Princeton, the Arts Council, and the Pedestrian Bike Advisory Committee are working together, planning on a cyclovia for Sunday, June 22nd from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is an open streets event. This is the first of its kind in Princeton that temporarily repurposes a street to be more inclusive for all people to walk, bike, roll, and scoot. So mark your calendars, look for more information, and we'll tell you all about the routes and the location in the coming weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Brian?
Yes, I just wanted to put in a plug for the hardworking Shade Tree Commission. During Porch Fest, they'll be handing out shade tree saplings at Heinz Plaza, free of charge. If anybody would like to get a sapling and plant it in your yard, that would be wonderful. And so please stop by the Shade Tree Commission during Porch Fest. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. David?
Yeah, and I just have a brief report on the Flood and Stormwater Commission meeting from last Friday. The main item of interest to the public is that we are going to be starting up an Adopt a Drain program in Princeton where individuals can take responsibility for a storm drain near your house and name it. So start thinking about your names, and this would be really helpful for the municipality in meeting the requirements of our new MS4 permit, our stormwater permit. So details to come.
Thank you. Leighton?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just three real quick things. Number one, everyone, we are in some challenging and very uncertain times here in the United States, and we all need to take care of both our physical and our quote-unquote, in parentheses with borders around it, mental health and well-being. So when you go get your annual physical, think about also getting an annual mental health checkup as well. And if you know someone you know is struggling, ask them to go get a mental health checkup. Number two, if you happen to be traveling in the Central Business District or anywhere in Princeton, a pedestrian on a sidewalk, and you happen to see someone riding by you on a bicycle, kindly ask them to move into the street or walk their bicycle for safety reasons. And lastly, if you see a Department of Public Works worker cleaning in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Bloom Local, trying to get our city clean. Give them a heads up at attaboy and thank them. Thank you.
Thanks, Layden. Okay, any other council announcements or reports? All right, seeing none, anything at the staff? Anything at this point? Okay. We have the police report. There you go, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to point out in February, we hired 5 new police officers during February to fill vacancies from retirements. They're all in the Mercer County Police Academy. They're doing well. So that was kind of the highlight of February. And then I just wanted to kind of plug one thing, an event we have coming up, and to kind of go on Layton's point. On June 12th at 6 o'clock right here in this room, we have a group coming in to give a presentation about traffic laws and people-friendly driving. It goes over the laws for drivers, bicyclists, and pedestrians. It's a free event. It's posted on our social media. I encourage as many people as we can to sign up to promote more safe driving habits, both vehicles, pedestrians, and bicyclists. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for the Chief? Okay. Next up, Salamander Brigade report.
Hello, my name is Inga Reagan. I'm with the Friends of Herrontown Woods. I'm introducing to you today the Princeton Salamander Crossing Brigade. It's a group that I started 3 years ago under advisement with the Sauerlands, and that group has grown wonderfully. We have students now, and we have teachers, and we have university professors. We have 4 amazing advisors, and I would like to, we'll have a brief presentation for you with Bhavya and Karina here in front of you. I don't know if they want to turn and wave. They are Princeton High School students who will give you a short presentation of why this group is important for Princeton. Thanks.
Thank you. So to start off, we'll discuss why spotted salamanders are so important to our ecosystems. They are a keystone species, so there are both predators of spotted salamanders, such as snakes and raccoons, as well as prey like insects and worms. And if we think about the analogy of a keystone within a building, that's what is holding up the entire structure. And when you take that keystone out, it'll collapse the whole system, which will apply with ecosystems and the role that salamanders play in them. Salamanders also help with nutrient cycling by doing things such as eating insects that convert plants into greenhouse gases. So they play a critical role in nutrient cycling. And we can look to the life cycle of spotted salamanders. So they are both aquatic and can survive in terrestrial environments, which furthers the critical role they play in a variety of domains throughout ecosystems. Furthermore, they are the only vertebrate algae relationship to exist, which shows how unique role they play with different species throughout their ecosystems. But lastly, and most importantly, these salamanders need to migrate to lay eggs in the ponds that they were born in, which is exactly why we need to help them cross the roads. The Herrontown Woods Crossing Brigade is made up of well-informed and equipped volunteers to help throughout this process of road crossings. They're all very well trained. We have crossing guard waivers as well as informational assessments before they go to actually help with the crossings to make sure everyone's adequately prepared. Furthermore, there's training sessions such as at the Sauerland Conservation where there's more professional sessions for volunteers to learn the process. We also have strict rules such as always having to be with a buddy on the night of the crossing. And we also have road closures this year, which was really helpful.
But even with all of these precautions that the Crossing Brigade takes, we still have high mortality rates for amphibians like spotted salamanders when they try to cross the road when there's still cars going. Last year, even with so many people on the road trying to help the salamanders, we had 40% of all amphibians die. And so the picture is the Swiss cheese model, which is brought up a lot when you discuss change over time. If we continue to lose 40% each year, this species, which is currently threatened, could possibly go extinct in the future, which is especially detrimental because spotted salamanders can live up to 30 years. So if we continue to lose 40% of the adult population every single year, then spotted salamanders, despite being keystone species, will bring down the entire ecosystem. So this is a side-by-side comparison of why the road closures matter. These are both data points from this year, but when the road is open, you can see that we had 8 times as many cars as when the road was closed, and we had 40 total amphibians die, and we were only able to save 49, versus when the road was closed, we had none dead at all, and we saved 119 amphibians. So the reason why this is so important, besides just saving Princeton ecosystems, is that it brings together people of all ages into a cause where they're purely united just by their love for nature. So I've spoken at both Princeton University and like preschool classes, and in both of those situations, people are equally as surprised that we have such a unique species in Princeton. As Karina said before, this is the only vertebrate in the entire world that has a relationship with an algae, and that algae photosynthesizes. So if you think about it, this is the only vertebrate in the entire world that can photosynthesize. And we are so lucky to have this animal live literally in our backyards. But the issue is that most people have never heard of this species, and they don't know that there's a way for us to save them. So we have some cards written by preschoolers through 3rd graders from Community Park, thanking the Crossing Brigade, thanking the council, and thanking police officers for helping us save these amphibians. Okay.
Inga is asking me to say something. I don't know really what to say. So I'm Lisa Boulanger. I'm a professor at Princeton. I'm a herpetology nerd. And I have these salamanders in my backyard. I live on Herrontown Road. And so the crossings are mostly done for this year. So we're starting to gear up and get everybody trained up and ready for next year. So we will see you next year. We're looking forward to getting out there and saving some more of these unique animals.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Are we allowed to ask questions?
Yes, we can ask questions.
I'm just curious, if the roads are closed, what is the role that the crossing guards play? Being a crossing guard, I'm particularly interested.
Yeah, so I can help with questions if you want. So if the road is closed, then we collect data. So we have information about the different species are there. We take counts, and we learn kind of how large is this population, how much is it changing over time. So it's a data collection opportunity. And we report it back. It actually goes back to the New Jersey Department of Fish and Wildlife. They keep centralized records, so we know just how unique this population is and how it's doing over time.
Okay. Thank you.
Michelle?
Thank you for bringing this to us and bringing this to our attention. I was just curious too, as far as this year, when we did close the roads, how many nights did we do it for, and how did we know? It was just one. It was one night, and so you were able to tell us and predict what night to close them, and it was 100% effective in terms of no deaths.
100% effective. Yep.
So fantastic.
Yeah, the prediction is slightly tricky, but at this point, as long as NOAA holds together and we still have good weather reports, we can predict when we know the conditions. We know the exact conditions, when it's warm, when it's rainy, and the rain is falling in the dark.
Yeah, great. That's great. Well, thank you so much for bringing this to us.
I'd also like to add that in other towns, they have Boy Scout troops do the crossing and like volunteering. So even if we've completely closed down the road, it's still a great opportunity for people to go outside and actively engage with nature. I saw a bat for the first time while I was doing this, so that's pretty cool, something to check off a bucket list.
And just so you know, it's usually no more than 5, maybe 6 times, somewhere between the end of February and beginning of April. So it's just a few nights. Yeah.
Thank you.
I just want to say, congratulations, thank you. I know the salamanders are grateful, but so are the people, for you caring for such small people, animals. And how do you know, you said there's a certain time that they're going to do it, but do you actually stay there all night and watch them and make sure that when they do decide to cross the road that you're stopping cars?
So we don't usually stay all night, which does mean we miss a bunch of data about who's crossing, but we also know that the risk from cars gets much lower as it gets later. There is one really terrible thing that happens, though, on nights when it rains a lot, which is River Road closes, and then all that traffic diverts off of River Road. A lot of it comes down Herrington Road. And so exactly on the nights when we really need to protect those animals, we have more traffic. So we usually only stay during the peak traffic hours, maybe 7 to 9.
Do you know why it is? Why not just stay where they are? And do they go across the road to breed? Why are they crossing? I know this is not trying to be funny.
Yeah, no, that's
why
great.
do salamanders cross the road?
We should make a T-shirt of that. That's really great. That's a great question. No, so these animals are mole salamanders, and they live underground. They're what's called fossorial, so they live in burrows underground all year round. This is the only time they come above ground and we see them, and it's because they are obligate vernal pool breeders. What does that mean? It means they need these pools that basically dry up in the summer. They're pools that don't have any fish. They can't breed in places where there are fish. The eggs would all get eaten. And so they have to go back to these pools. And through mechanisms we absolutely do not understand, they go back not only to the pool where they were hatched, but the same side of the pool where they left. People have put radio trackers on them. They are incredible at homing. And so they are going, but Herrington Road used to not be paved, and we paved it. And now there's a lot more traffic there, and the road is between some of their habitat and one of the biggest pools in Princeton.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Mia.
So I can relate to the salamanders, and so can many of us up here because we come back to raise our families in the exact same town that we grew up in. But I hope that next year we can, augment, enhance, build upon the partnership with the town so that we can, figure out what's necessary for maximum protection for the salamanders. And as my colleague David Cohen mentioned, he's a crossing guard for the schools, and I aspire to be a salamander, to go through the training and be a crossing guard for the salamanders. And so I can put it on my resume. But I also just want to mention to my colleagues that, we recently worked really hard to save this Landwind property, which is on the other side of where the salamanders are. And, I listened to a great deal of testimony when I was on the planning board about vernal pools. And it turns out it's not an abstraction, it's a reality. And we have actually, by saving this property, made it possible for these salamanders to continue to come back. So thank you, Princeton High School students. And Inga, thank you so much for making this possible. And, it really, as you said, this is a heartwarming presentation, and you're right. Thank you.
Thank you all. Okay, moving on. Next up on the agenda, public comments for items not on the agenda. If anybody's here and wants to talk about something, again, that's not on the agenda, this would be the time to come forward. All right, seeing nobody for that, we'll close that part of the agenda and move on. Next up is the municipal budget. Our CFO is here. And Sandy, do you wish to give us a little primer before we start on this?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Mayor. So we did introduce our budget back in March. I went through a similar presentation at that time, so I've scaled it down a little bit, but I still want to hit on some of the key items for this 2025 budget. So the budget overall is up about 3%. You can see on this slide the salary and wage, how that's gone up, and that's attributed to cost of living increases for both non-contractual and also our bargaining units. And other expenses are up, and I'll hit on a few things that have increased pretty significantly for this year. So the key question always comes is what are the taxes going up? So the municipal rate is going to go up slightly by 0.0124, which equates to $106 a year. And when we add the library tax on it, which is part of our municipal budget, it becomes $134 a year. So what drove this budget? We had a couple of revenues, about $500,000 from state aid that we had from the 2024 budget, in addition to a loss of revenue with one of the other grants or one of the other pilot amounts that we have. So what we did was we increased our use of surplus, we increased the use of our investment of what we made in our investment account from the prior year, and this also includes the university increase. So what drove the budget? Again, it's the same things. I feel like I'm just on repeat every year. They're the same things that we talk about every year. It's garbage and trash, it's the insurances, debt service, library, and our participation in Stony Brook. But we did make some strides as we went through this budget process this year, which we have done the last couple of years. Administration met with all of the departments, and you can see from this list the departments that had their budgets reduced, and that was almost $900,000. So that was pretty significant. That saved us about a penny. And the other things we did, in addition to the reductions, we increased our use of surplus by $1 million. When we ended 2024, our surplus was up pretty significantly over the year before, and so I felt really comfortable with bringing in an additional $1 million in surplus. And then we increased a bunch of other revenues individually to account for another $1.5 million. And these are the things that are the non-discretionary budget items. They're the things that we're obligated to cover. It's our liability insurance, our workman's comp, our group insurance, which is medical, dental, and prescription for not only our employees, but for retirees as well. Utilities, we have to pay to keep the lights on and the phones working. And of course, pensions goes up just about every year. I mentioned Stony Brook, and our debt service is up. So the things that we cannot control in this budget are about 43% of the total overall budget. So that is my presentation for tonight, and I know you have a couple of things that you'll go through, a couple of actions that you'll take next.
Thank you. Any questions for Sandy at this point? Okay. Let's get up to the first ordinance, 2025-04, ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank, NJSA 40A 4-45.14. David, thank you for the motion. Is there a second? Thank you, Leighton. Questions or comments? David?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment. This ordinance was reported on in Tap Into Princeton this morning as being required because we're exceeding the 2.5% cap that's established by the state. And that's actually not correct. While the overall tax increase is about 3%, or not tax increase, the budget increase is about 3%, as Sandy mentioned. A lot of those items are exempt from the cap, and so we're actually under the 2.5% cap. However, what this does, and we do it every year, is that it allows us to sort of bank in case of really bad circumstances in a coming year. We could go over the cap in the coming year because we've sort of saved some money, for a rainy day, so to speak. So I just wanted to clarify that for anybody who had read that article.
Okay. Thank you. Other questions or comments on this? Anybody from the public with a question or comment on this? All right. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Ms. Perron-Lambros?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Sachs?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
And Mr. Newland?
Okay. Thank you. All right, next up is Resolution 25-134, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton to adopt the 2025 municipal budget. Is there such a motion? Thank you. Mia's got that. Brian's got the second. Questions or comments? Brian.
Yes, I just wanted to thank Sandy for the very helpful, informative presentation and for all of the financial data that is included in the agenda packet. It's very transparent and thorough. Overall, I think that the budget is well constructed and especially appreciate the efforts to squeeze out almost $900,000 in reductions. I do have two concerns, which I've mentioned before. The first is the library budget. The library is one of our crown jewels, and we need to sustain its excellence. They did an admirable job of controlling costs during COVID and deserve praise for that. But this year will be the second 5% increase in a row, which exceeds the growth of the overall municipal budget and is about double the tax levy increase. I'm concerned that this is not sustainable and offer any help that I might provide to assist the library in working to manage the growth in expenses, which I know they already work very hard to do. I also hope that we can continue to support and encourage them in their efforts to raise revenue above and beyond the municipal allocation, which they already do very well. My second concern is the growth in debt service, which is budgeted to rise by $900,000. I know that we have strategically increased our investments in municipal infrastructure and that the acquisition of the Westminster Choir College property was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But I also know that we need to be careful that our debt service does not rise at an unsustainable rate. Over the coming months, I would like us to take a hard look at our borrowing capacity and at the projects in the existing 6-year capital plan and ensure that they will not overburden our taxpayers and also that they are carefully prioritized to align with our town's values. Thank you again and for this presentation, and thanks to all the staff members who work so very hard to assemble it.
Yeah, Brian, thanks. I will mention that since as mayor I sit on the library board, I think like 2 or 3 meetings ago with that board, I mentioned when they were reviewing their budget before it came to us that the rate at which it was increasing, I pretty much made the same comments you just made to them. So I told the director, their CFO, and the chair of their board that we, the town, cannot continue to shoulder that kind of burden year after year, and that next year would be a very different, I assumed next year would be a very different story with Westminster coming on and other things happening, that they should not expect that kind of increase again. So our finance committee may want to start chatting with them sooner than later to help them prepare for that. I think that'd be a good idea, because that has pretty much been a budget that is just what's the request and you get it, and that's not healthy for us or for them actually. So other comments or questions? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, that was it.
So the library increase was 5%, and can you give a comparative analysis of what the increase for other, can you put that in a comparative setting?
Well, compared to the municipal budget was a 3% increase. So, it was 70% greater increase than the municipal budget.
And what about the schools this year?
The schools would be limited to 2% unless they have I think they have a little bank cap, which they may be taking, but they will pass their budget later this month. But they're almost always under 3%, and sometimes at exactly 2%.
Yeah, and I think if we look at our own departments, when we met with our own departments for the operating budget, Sandy's going to know better than I do as far as what the percents were, but for a number of departments, they were flat. For some departments, they actually got less than they got last year. So I think we were pretty darn aggressive with our own departments. So to see, and I don't mean to pick on the library, because that's a great, it's a great institution in town, and it obviously takes money to make it that great. But, if you can't afford to live here, having all those great services is kind of meaningless. Because if you have to leave the town because you can't pay the taxes, at some point, you got to be realistic about everything. But I would say comparing that 5% to our own departments, that far outweighs what we did internally.
So when you were at the meeting that you just described recently, was there a plan to address that? Because I know that Michelle had, had those discussions with the library a number of years ago.
Well, there's a different cast of characters at this point. So I think they were receptive to the concerns, and I think they will be not surprised and be more than happy to enter into some discussions with our finance committee on how to prepare for next year. That was my
That was your
perspective
takeaway.
of what their reaction.
Okay, great.
Well, that was a good discussion, actually. Thank you. Other questions or comments? Okay. That's a roll call vote also.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Ms. Perron-Lambros?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga? I'm sorry, Ms. Sachs. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Okay, next up, we have public hearing on two ordinances. Ordinance 2025-08, an ordinance by the municipality of Princeton concerning fees for zoning permits and amending Chapter 2 of the Code of the Borough of Princeton, New Jersey, 1974, and Chapter 10B of the Code of the Township of Princeton, New Jersey, 1968. Would someone like to move that? Thank you, Brian. David's got the second. Questions or comments from the council members? David?
I just wanted to comment that I think this is a really good change, kind of overdue. Essentially, in a nutshell, the zoning permit fees used to be flat fee, no matter the size of the project. And what they've done is they've tried to make them a little bit more scalable so that it relates to the amount of work that is required to actually process the permit. So that's what this change is.
Thanks for explaining that. Other questions or comments? Okay. Anyone from the public want to comment on this one? All right, we'll close the public hearing, and can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Ms. Perron-Lambros?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Sachs?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Okay, next up is ordinance 2025-09, an ordinance by the municipality of Princeton regulating speed limits on certain streets and amending Chapter 11 of the Code of the Township of Princeton, New Jersey, 1968. Would someone like to move that? Thank you, David. Brian's got the second. Council questions or comments? So we're doing what? We're doing Mount Lucas Road, 206, Cherry Hill. Okay. Yes, Brian.
I just wanted to note that I'm often on Cherry Hill and strongly support this change, and hope that as time passes, we can look at other streets and wonder if we can reduce the speed limits in other areas of town as well.
Yep. Other comments or questions? Leighton.
Just want to say this is only the beginning. We still have Vision Zero coming, and we are we will make Princeton more safer for walkers, for bicyclists, and even for drivers of cars. So stand by, this is just the beginning.
Thank you, Leighton. All right. Anyone from the public to comment on this? All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, and can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Ms. Perron-Lambros?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Sachs?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now, one of the high points of tonight's meeting, the very first resolution, 25-135, resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton appointing Dawn M. Mount as the municipal clerk. Leighton's got his hand up to move it. Michelle's got the second. Any questions or comments by the council members? Mia?
We are so thrilled and so excited, Dawn. This is a difficult year for the country, but there is one bright spot for Princeton, which is having you as that clerk. Stand it.
Thank you. honor and a privilege to serve you guys in this new role and to serve the residents of the town as well. Thank you.
We're all very happy for you. And just to make it official, I think I might actually ask us all to vote on this. So all in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, there you go. I just see, sir.
Mayor, if I may, I'd just like to welcome, for all, we haven't seen her in a long time, but Dolores, how are you doing tonight? Thank you for coming, Dolores Williams, our former clerk of the municipality for, oh my God, many, many, many years. Good to see you.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I just want to say that I'm very pleased that you saw fit to choose a clerk that I am so proud to call my friend, my daughter. We've been together for 20 years, and I know that she will make you proud, and I'm just so happy. And her husband and her children are here to also give support for Dawn. So thank you. And
Yep. Yeah. Thank you, Dolores, thank you. And to Dawn's family, thank you very much. Very, very meaningful to have them here as as we appoint you tonight. So congratulations again. All right, we're going to fly through the rest of the meeting so you can go out drinking with your family. And I'm joking, I don't mean that seriously. Anyway, 25-136, resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton authorizing site license agreements with Crown Castle Fiber LLC for the following 4 locations: Ober Road, 1 Einstein Drive, 342 Nassau Street, Harrison Street, and Nassau Street locations, and 56-64 Witherspoon Street. Thank you, Mia. Is there a second? Thank you, Brian. Questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 25.
Aye.
Thank you. 25-137, resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton authorizing the award of a contract to VoIP Networks for telephone services for an amount not to exceed $44,266.58, utilizing Sourcewell National Cooperative Purchasing Contract number 120122-MBS. Thank you, Leighton. Is there a second? Thank you, Brian. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 25-138, resolution of the mayor and council authorizing the award of a bid contract to Colonelli Brothers, Inc. for the rehabilitation/replacement of 2 pedestrian footbridges in the Mountain Lakes Preserve, bid for an amount not to exceed $947,200. Is there a motion on that? Thank you, Leighton. Michelle's got the second. Questions or comments? Brian.
I just wanted to ask, I think I read that most of this is grant supported?
Yes.
Yes. Okay,
Almost half of it.
great.
Okay.
I think 357,000.
Thank you for being on top of that. Yep. All right. Any other questions? All right. If not, all in favor, please say aye.
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 25-139, resolution of the mayor and council authorizing the award of a contract to Fernonics Document Solutions for document management services for an amount not to exceed $167,110, utilizing the Educational Services Commission of New Jersey Contract 22/23-11. Is there a motion on that? Thank you, David. Brian's got the second. Questions or comments? All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
25-140, resolution of the mayor and council authorizing the award of a bid contract to Clark Monahan Landscaping and Construction, LLC for Community Park North Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, and for reforestation planning bid for an amount not to exceed $566,153.42. Thank you, Brian. Is there a second? Thank you, Leighton. Questions or comments? Mia?
Did we get any state assistance for this?
$552,000 is coming from a grant.
Great. So basically, the municipal cost is only about 30.
Yes, it's
30,000?
very limited.
What's that?
About $15,000.
About 15,000. Yeah.
Yes.
So good for the public to know. This is being very important initiative and also being covered by the state. So.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, sorry, I got lost as to which one I was doing. 25-140, resolution of the mayor and council authorizing, no, I just did that one, sorry. I couldn't follow my check marks. 25-141, resolution of the mayor and council authorizing the award of a bid contract to Clark Moynihan Landscaping and Construction LLC for 2025 spring tree planting for an amount not to exceed $57,322. Layton's got the motion, Mia's got the second. Questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
25-142, resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton authorizing the award of a contract to Passport Labs, Inc. for mobile payment for parking fees for an amount not to exceed $121,000 for the first year of a 3-year contract utilizing Omnia Partners National Cooperative Purchasing Contract number 05-51. Layton's got the motion, David's got the second. Questions or comments? David.
I just want to comment that this year, for the first time, apparently receipts through the Passport app have exceeded the credit card, correct? So this is something that finally residents are starting to really take advantage of, and it is beneficial to use the app. There are certain savings, I think, for the individual and for the municipality when you use the app. So.
Okay, thank you. Mia.
Why are we paying them for the app? I mean, doesn't it usually work that they get a certain amount of a percentage of each person who uses the app?
So we do pay a transaction fee as well as a gateway fee. That's how our contract has worked with them since we started it. And the price for this year hasn't changed from what they've charged us in the past.
So they're charging us this amount to make it possible for our residents to use it. So we're underwriting the ability of our residents to use this because it's the ease of access.
But if you think about it, for credit cards, the merchant, which is us, also pays a fee, right? The end user doesn't pay the fee. So I think this is really parallel to credit card processing and perhaps a little bit less expensive for us.
Yeah, and I was just going to add that we average about $130,000 a month that we collect for the Passport app. So it's significantly more than what we're collecting versus what we're paying for the app.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
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 25-143, resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton authorizing an increase of $10,500 to the not-to-exceed amount for the professional services agreement with PS&S LLC for professional engineering services in connection with the Terhune Road Pedestrian Improvements Project for a new not-to-exceed amount of $153,500. Is there a motion? Thank you, Layton. Is there a second? Thank you, David. Questions or comments? I see none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
25-144, a resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton authorizing the award of a professional services agreement to Muller and how do you say that, Bailey? Bailey, sorry, PC, to provide legal services in connection with the review of development applications to be paid exclusively by escrow funds for an amount not to exceed $125,000. Is there a motion on that? Thank you, Mia. Is there a second? Thank you, Layton. Questions or comments? David.
Yeah, I'm just confused that there's an expenditure for services that are to be paid exclusively by escrow funds. So I don't know if somebody can explain why we're paying if escrow funds are going to pay them.
Yeah, the money is coming actually from the application that we collect for the escrow review. So this is a contract that doesn't cost us any money. It's paid for by the applicant.
Got it. Okay.
Good question. Other questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
25-145, resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton authorizing an increase of $30,000 to the not-to-exceed amount for the professional services agreement with Greenbaum, Rose, Smith, and Davis LLP for legal services as special redevelopment counsel to Princeton for a new not-to-exceed amount of $205,000. Michelle's got the motion, Mia's got the second. Questions or comments? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
25-146, resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton authorizing change order number 3 to the contract with Eastern Surplus and Equipment Company for the purchasing of one high water rescue truck for a decrease of $9,060, resulting in a new contract total of $257,313 and a final delivery date on or before April 21st, 2025, and authorizing payment to be issued upon delivery and final acceptance of the truck. Is there, Michelle's got the motion, thank you. Is there a second? David's got the second. Questions or comments? Mia?
Didn't we just buy a high water rescue truck? Or what? Like, there's just been a lot of drama and a lot of emails and a lot of stuff related to either one or more high water rescue trucks.
It is the same vehicle.
It is the same vehicle.
There has been a lot of back and forth and drama.
Okay.
Which is coming to an end very soon. Thank you,
Okay.
Lisa. Thank you very much for our attorney for helping us navigate high water with the vendor.
Okay. So this is the same truck?
It is the same truck.
And we're going to get it soon?
It's actually coming.
Wow. Okay. That's all.
Yep.
Just
Should
want
be
to make
good.
sure we weren't accidentally buying another one.
No, yeah. A little hard to hide this thing.
Yeah.
There's two of them, what? No, just the one.
Okay.
Good question.
All good.
Other questions or comments? All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
25-147, resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton authorizing change order number 1 to the contract with BlackRock Enterprises LLC for roadway improvements, Terhune Road Improvement Project from North Harrison Street to Grover Avenue for an increase of $60,090.37, resulting in a new contract total of $865,372.52. Thank you, David. Mia's got the second. Questions or comments? Leighton.
Yeah, Deanna, I read this. Did it say cutouts? It seemed like a small addition, but I was just wondering what impact it's going to have on the bicycle and the pathways.
The scope of work hasn't changed. It's really, it was, when we were looking at the coordination between the work that the Alice is doing for their frontage improvements and what is being done on our half of Terhune Road for the improvements. We shifted some of the work from their contract to our contract, and so that's what you're seeing here is that the limit of paving changed, the construction of the raised intersection, a Belgian block refuge island for the pedestrians, and then the additional rectangular rapid flashing beacon. So we will still have the bicycle lanes that will be built as part of this project, as well as the pedestrian improvements on both sides of the roadway.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
25-148, resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton authorizing change order number 1 to the mowing contract with U.S. Athletic Fields, Inc. for additional mowing services for an increase of $18,900, resulting in a new contract amount not to exceed $114,909. Is there, Michelle, thank you, has got the motion. Brian's got the second. Questions or comments? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
25-149, resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton authorizing change order number 1 to the turf management services contract with U.S. Athletic Fields, Inc. for an additional treatments for an increase of $1,455.61, resulting in a new amount not to exceed $21,386.27. Is there a remote? Thank you, Brian. Michelle's got the second. Questions or comments? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
25-150, resolution of the mayor and council of Princeton authorizing the Arts Council of Princeton to hold an outdoor art market or street fair. Yep. Yes, Michelle's making the motion, and Leighton's got the second. Questions or comments? Michelle and then David.
So we all love the art fair. And I love the fact that it's downtown where it is. I know it's very convenient for the Arts Council. It's close, and it brings people into town, and that's great. They can, dine, shop, and all that. But I have to say that there was a lot of concern last year with traffic. And I'm looking at Adam, and we've spoken about this. The concern being that last year, Chambers Street was still closed to traffic, or was one-way traffic. There was still construction going on. So, I think that this year we're going to try this again, and hopefully, I know that you've spoken to the police department, traffic, and so on, and so hopefully these issues can be resolved. It's not going to be perfect, but I hope it's going to work out because I love it. We all love it. It's great for the town, and we want to be supportive. But I do want to just throw out the caveat that I hope that the traffic situation is not going to be an impediment to the businesses downtown that did suffer last year for it.
Let me just see if there's any other comments up here, Adam, sorry. Just that way, if there's others, you can address them all at once. Any other comments or questions? David?
Yeah, I guess it's related. We spent a lot of money to upgrade Witherspoon Street with the express intention, actually, of closing the top block of Witherspoon from Spring Street to Nassau Street for events like this. And so, I'm not suggesting that in any way we try to change it this year, but I would really like to be having that conversation in years to come. It is great to bring people into town. I think it's going to be even more of a boon. I mean, to have the fair on that block would do so much more for the adjacent businesses than having it on Paul Robeson, which has no adjacent businesses. I also know that the parking garage that's under the, I forget, Hullfish North, has issues with egress and entry for the residents of those apartments, and I think that's much less the case on Witherspoon Street. The service all happens, the loading and stuff all happens before 10 a.m., and then, vehicles really don't have a reason to be on that stretch of Witherspoon. So I'm making a pitch, and hope we can work together to make that move in the coming years.
Mia?
Okay, we're going to pile on. This is not new. We've been asking for 3 years now, or 2 years, 3 years, I don't know, for it to be on Witherspoon. And, I'm going to say it less politely than David. I don't know why we spent millions of dollars to create the opportunity to close off Witherspoon and have exactly this sort of thing if we're not going to use it. That was really the main impetus for doing what we did on Witherspoon. There's a lot of people who feel nostalgic about the old way that Witherspoon was and want to know why we spent this money. And part of me feels like, well, maybe we should put it back because we're not using it for what we said we were going to use it for. So why aren't we using it for what we said we were going to use it for?
So let me jump in. 2 things, 3 things maybe. The street fair is May 3rd. It is 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Very important for people to understand that so they show up. And then I had another great comment that has totally flown out of my mind. That'll come back to me. Adam, please jump in. Identify yourself so you're on the minutes.
My name is Adam Welch. I'm the Executive Director at the Arts Council of Princeton, 102 Witherspoon Street, though I live in Hightstown. Thank you so much for hearing me tonight, and thank you for the questions. It is something that we have thought and talked a lot about, and as some of you know, with my side interest and amateur history, one of the big reasons that we actually stopped Communiversity and haven't decided to utilize Witherspoon Street is the amount of businesses that are affected negatively when you set up booths in front of their locations. One of the big advantages of moving it to Paul Robeson Place was it doesn't actually affect any foot traffic to the retail businesses. Something that we are looking to pursue, which we have some plans for, but we haven't, pitched them yet, is more like concerts with the Witherspoon Street closure. So it just brings pedestrians in. We can have music. We were thinking sort of like weekend music concerts and stuff like that on Witherspoon Street up at the top part. But one of the big reasons why we pushed for Porch Fest and pushed for the art market the week after was almost unanimously, from what I have read, is the businesses were so negatively impacted by the street fairs because it closed access to their businesses. One of the best compliments we got was actually from Jessica Duria, who said, during community events, there would be lines down the street to come into her store just to use the bathroom, but very negative impact on the shopping. And that's why 10 years, I think, before we decided not to do community anymore, it had to be moved to a Sunday because the businesses petitioned council and mayor because it was negatively affecting all the businesses in town. So it was their worst Saturday ever. So believe it or not, the main reason we moved it off of Nassau Street and Witherspoon Street is because we saw it as an opportunity, and got rid of all food vendors, is we saw it as a great opportunity to help support the businesses in town. And particularly during COVID, when we made this shift, is we wanted all the traffic that came to town to not buy from our food vendors, which is where we made most of our money, but to shop in town. So believe it or not, the decision was made to be sort of a pro-business decision to move it off of Nassau Street and Witherspoon Street. But one thing that, just as we problem solved what we saw as, an issue with Communiversity, one thing that we thought about what would be the good use of this Witherspoon Street closure, and we thought, a band, morning bands and stuff like that on the weekends would be a good use for it. But as far as street fairs, it's not a, I don't think that it's, according to the research, it's not a very good use for the street fairs with the booths.
Yeah, so let me just say, we're not going to decide this tonight, so I really don't want to get into the debate about whether to use Witherspoon or Street, not tonight. That's going to be an ongoing debate after this meeting. So I just want to say that, but we can have a couple comments, but really let's not try to have that debate this evening. Mia.
So I understand that that's Experience Princeton's position, and that's the position of the businesses who belong to Experience Princeton, and that the Arts Council is a member of Experience Princeton. But Experience Princeton is not running the town, the council is. And, I think that the council as a whole made the decision to move forward with with spending a lot of money on Witherspoon Street so that we would have more more space, not just for music, but also for things like street fairs. So, I just don't think, it seems like the way, from what you've described, that things have played out, that the business community has made a decision about what they think is best for the community. And the Arts Council, I understand, is a member of Experience Princeton, but it also serves the entire community, and I think the council, as representing the entire community, should have the ability, and as Mark said, it's not about this time, but this has been brought up for a number of years, and it should not be the business community determining what's best for the whole community. And I think it should be a larger discussion, and I hope that it will, because I think that anything, at least what was, represented by, our liaison to Experience Princeton, which was our council member, was that what was planned for Witherspoon Street would enhance the business community. So this is the first time hearing that actually there is some tension there. It seems to me that you don't have to set up a stall right in front of the doorway of a business. There should be a way to do it in a way that draws people but doesn't obstruct the access to businesses. So, you know.
And just to be absolutely clear, this has nothing at all to do with Experience Princeton. I don't have any conversations with them about any of this. So they had no
I don't think there's been any
contact.
discussion with any of the business community at all about this year. So
So
that is
then
something.
how do we know that they feel it obstructs them? I mean,
That's why I've said we shouldn't have the debate here tonight. We should actually go out and get facts, and one of those facts would be helpful if we actually went out and talked to the businesses on
well,
Witherspoon
he
Street.
just mentioned one business proprietor, and specifically Jessica Dury, who was.
It was since 1971, every year there would be a petition signed by the businesses that were affected negatively, starting in 1971.
For Communiversity.
Yeah.
Yeah, Communiversity killed our
So
businesses.
that's sort of a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But I hear what you're saying. I think this is a discussion we should have.
Yep. Leighton?
Yeah, Mark. Thank you, Mayor. I think it is a discussion that we could have or should have going forward, but I just also want to note that in the fourth whereas, the chief of police findings are that the conduct of the event will not substantially interrupt the safe and orderly movement of other traffic continuous to its route. And he goes on to say other things, that this is not a bad place to have the event. It is going to be safe. The police are in favor of the move. And I would also add that while we did redirect and redesign the top of Witherspoon Street to be street fairish, I can see where some of the businesses there might not like that confusion there over a 4-hour period. And also, by the way, the location of the Arts Council gives it a Princeton neighborhood feel, and I kind of like that. So I kind of think this is much ado about nothing. I think it is a discussion we can have, but it's clear that the chief of police has, okayed this as a good venue. And, I think we should just do what we can to make sure that this is all it can be for the town.
Yeah, I think we're good for this year, but we need to have a discussion about for the future. So that's.
All right,
We're going
thank
to
you.
send the complaint calls to you, Leighton, on that day.
Okay. All right, I think we're done with comments. No? Another comment?
I just want to clarify about Witherspoon Street, though. I mean, we did it also because we wanted outdoor dining and a
Yeah.
bigger pedestrian, passage. So it wasn't about having events. However, we do need to figure out some bollards. And I do think that we should have moments where we have street fairs and various events. And even just to close it on a nice weekend afternoon to just make it very pedestrian friendly and
Yeah.
have outdoor dining there and let the kids run around and not worry about the traffic. So there's a lot of things we can do, and I would like to explore how to set it up with tents that would be more in the middle, outward facing, which was not what Communiversity did. So, let's continue the conversation. I think we talked about the fact that last year the traffic was an issue. We have now resolved that, so we'll see how it goes. But I think for this or for others, we need to continue the conversation about Witherspoon Street because it is a really good opportunity for the town. So that's it.
Yeah, we should
All
find the right
I'm done.
event, not force an event on it, but,
Right.
okay.
Thank you, Adam.
Let's take a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 That's everybody. Next up is the consent agenda. There are 8 items on the consent agenda. If no one feels the need to pull one off the consent agenda, one of those items, somebody could move the consent agenda in block. Michelle, in block, everything?
In block.
Thank you very much. Is there a second on the consent agenda? Thank you, Leighton. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. David,
I move that we adjourn.
is there a second? Thank you, Brian. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are done. Thank you all for being here tonight. Have a great night.
Thanks for coming, Leah Khan.
There you go, Dawn. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Dawn.